Okay, guys, this is going to be my Star Wars characters. The Star Wars characters ranked part 7. We're going to be starting off with number 55, Hera Syndulla. Hera is, of course, the pilot of the Ghost. She is a great Twi'lek, great leader. I would call her pretty much the leader of the rebels. I mean, owns the Ghost, and she's a great character. I think we're starting to really get into these top echelon of characters, and where I feel like she never really is front and center, and I feel like they don't really do a lot of development with her. But I have to say, I really like her piloting skills. I think she's a great leader. Like I said, I think the love interest between Kanan and Hera, and I think I really like her development in season 3 with going to her home planet, and then also in season 4 after Kanan's death, they do a little bit more development with her. So I really like the character. Coming in 54th place is General Grievous. He's really cool. I think in Revenge of the Sith, he doesn't do that much. I like the duel with Obi-Wan, but it is brief. I think the fight on the ship in Revenge of the Sith was also a cool sequence, but he wasn't really in it. I think his voice is kind of menacing, and I kind of like this idea of what if you are a robot assassin who kills Jedi, who has lightsabers, but also is not a Force user. And I think they really developed that with Grievous. And I think when I look at Grievous, I like to look at his action sequences. And in Clone Wars, he does have a plethora of just great action sequences. But yet at the same time, you can't forget he's still just a henchman. Where he doesn't always just steal the show. He, like I said, is still only really a henchman, but he's still a cool character, still a great character. And I think while he is, like I said, a henchman who gets disposed of easily in Revenge of the Sith, you kind of also have to look at his leadership, and it's cool. He's a cool character, and he has a lot of great, story arcs that he pops up in Clone Wars. Coming in 53rd place is Mother Talzin. Mother Talzin is a cool kind of witch, you kind of see kind of a witch and wizardry in Star Wars through her eyes. I think having her be kind of the mother of all these Night Sisters was kind of a cool development. I think I guess if you wanted to group the Night Sisters in as a whole, I think they're cool. And I think she does, I love how she utilizes magic. I think whether you talk about using voodoo magic on General Grievous, or opening a zombie army, or causing the Night Sisters to be invisible, and just utilizing magic in the disappeared arc, and once again making people disappear and invisible, and she really utilizes magic, makes magic swords. On top of, she also, I'd say, has very much a heavily iconic voice, but nonetheless, she's not one of the top echelon of Star Wars characters. But she does really land, in the middle for me. I think she is a cool character that I think kind of her end with Grievous in the comics and all this stuff, great stuff. I think she does, serve her purpose, whether you talk about Clone Wars or in the comics, really nicely for what that character is, and definitely is kind of our best insight to magic in the Star Wars universe. Coming in 52nd place is Hondo Ohnaka. Hondo is great. I mean, he's just so charming and such a lovable kind of, bounty hunter. When in Clone Wars, he very much is presented as an anti-hero, where it's one arc he can be played as a villain. And whether you talk about when he is his first appearance, and he pops up in a bunch of different arcs where he plays kind of an antagonistic figure, but at the same time, he's not on the level of Separatists. So when Separatists get involved, you kind of root for him. You kind of, you even root for him when he's the villain. When him and his gang are the villain, he's kind of a cool kind of pirate and a bounty, where he's not really a bounty hunter. He's just a guy trying to do business, a kind of a mafia type, gangster type, mob runner, pirate, smuggler type. He's just everything. A bounty hunter, a smuggler. He runs up, a joint, and this is the planet he's on. He'll kidnap people. He'll take things from it. He'll take parts and ships and lightsabers and anything worth money to keep, to sell, to buy, to create, or whatever. He's just a really cool character that you just don't know where he's gonna go next. I think in Rebels, he was a little bit dumbed down. I think he was very. I felt like he was not really the Hondo we kind of remember. He was just like, oh yeah, let me just help the rebels. Let me just be full hero. And it was a little bit kind of unique to see him in that role that didn't always fit. But he just pops up in Clone Wars. He just pops up in multiple different arcs, just to lend a hand and just to become and how he ends kind of being heroic, giving the bombs to Alderaan. And he is a really cool character who I think does get a cool kind of complete arc throughout the show. Coming in 51st place is Sabine Wren. Sabine's a cool character. I love her kind of learning to be a Darksaber, and she doesn't just learn how to use the Darksaber. She doesn't just get the Darksaber and be like, I can kill people, I'm so good with it. No, she has to learn. She has a trial. She has a dark past with her family about them joining the rebels, or the Empire, and she has to leave, and she got exiled, and her family hates her, and family struggles with her mom and her brother, and then Mandalore itself, and then her creating a weapon that can kill Mandalorian, her joining the Empire, her leaving the Empire. You can just see that troubled past, but they really explore that. Surprisingly enough, they give her a lot of development. And who doesn't want just a cool Mandalorian? And her love for art. When she's in battle, they really utilize that with her art, Mandalorian art. How she kind of when Rook in season 4. I remember when Rook turned invisible and she sprayed paint onto him to know where he is. It's just stuff like that, and having paint bombs. She is a really unique character, and who doesn't love a Mandalorian who can wield a Darksaber? And her duel with Gar Saxon was pretty cool. Coming in 50th place is Savage Opress, younger brother to Darth Maul. He has a lot of great moments as well to be understood. And I think his arc is kind of cool, where it's he just starts as kind of just a normal, average, I don't know the species Maul was in, but on Dathomir, kind of cool character in that. And just having other brothers, having friends, and then turning into the monster that he is. And you see his transformation into the Savage Opress, who is almost like a monster, more monsterish than an actual, man. And that was cool to see. And I think him learning, to become a Sith from Darth Maul was, again, cool development. And I think they do a lot of cool stuff with him. And I think once again, when he becomes a monster, they don't do a lot of development with him, but everybody has to talk about his great sequences. Whether you talk about him against Asajj Ventress, or against Dooku, or against Anakin and Obi-Wan, or against, and killing, Adagalia. And I think this type of stuff, and his struggle to, because he's a monster, but you could just tell that he doesn't want to be a monster. And I think his death was crazy, where he didn't want to die. He was trying to help his brother, trying to, being second in command, but never really having that much say. And his death and holding his brother in his arms, you can almost, because you've seen the full arc, you can almost feel for him, because you've seen his whole arc, and he didn't start out as the monster he grows into being. Coming in 49th place is Bail Organa. Bail, gotta love him. Gotta love them some Bail. Bail Organa's a great character. He, whether you talk about him in Revenge of the Sith, very, very much being just a great helping hand. His iconic voice, his iconic look of the beard and the gray on the sides, and then, him saving Yoda, and he isn't in it a lot, but when he does show up, it's just his presence, and just, while he's not in a lot, like I said, what he does do, they make matter. Whether you talk about coming in to save Yoda, whether you talk about adopting Leia, or whether you talk about, contacting Leia to get the message in Rogue One. And I love the conversation between him and Mon Mothma about Leia. And then, his appearances in Clone Wars. He's in a few episodes, and I think I love, him in action the times, but I also love him as a senator, and kind of like a, relatable senator, and kind of like, honestly, yes, you have Padme, who is a senator, but I feel like Bail is your true insight to what kind of a senator would do, because yes, Padme is a senator, but she starts out as a queen, and we'll get to that. But I feel like he's just that kind of truest form of just pure senator, and how he can negotiate. You see him negotiate where he is in action a little bit, but mainly he's just a diplomat. Mainly he's just a guy who can win over, who is persuasive, who is a kind of unique kind of lawyer type in the Star Wars universe. While he doesn't have a lot to do, when he does show up with his iconic presence, it's just cool to watch. And a cool character. Coming in 48th place is the Grand Inquisitor. The Grand Inquisitor is a really cool character. I love the final episode and his final line, where it's like, where he's like, something about fear and stuff, and then he's like, there are worse things. There are more things to be scared of than death, or something like that. Or, there are things far more worse than death. And then he lets go of the bridge he was holding on for dear life on into the fire. And he just, I don't know, his lines are great, his line reading, and his iconic voice. I think his look of kind of almost looking like the sun in some ways. I've seen some theories that maybe it is the sun, or maybe that is like some relative. I'm not quite sure. I love kind of the double-edged lightsaber, but also it spins and circles. His great fight sequences, his menacing presence. I think he is probably the best antagonist of Rebels, other than Maul. Why am I saying that? Thrawn and Vader, but pretty much. For one of those like genuine main threats, he is one of the better ones in Rebels that otherwise doesn't have a great rogues gallery. And so I question that maybe just the only reason why I like him, this much, is because he sticks out as even a semi-decent character compared to a lot of other characters. I don't know, maybe. I don't know. Don't know everything. Coming in 47th place is Bo-Katan. Bo-Katan is a cool character. I think the ultimate female Mandalorian. I love her fight with Gar Saxon. I love how, yes, she was started out with Death Watch, but but she always had that sense of, even within Death Watch. Why do I say Death Watch? Death Watch. She has her own kind of organization within the organization. And then obviously her, teaming with Ahsoka was great, and I love their kind of chemistry together, and I love this twist of having Satine be Bo-Katan's sister, and just Bo-Katan just wanting peace, but it wasn't even that she wanted peace. It was just that more or less she just wanted Mandalore to be free from any criminals, because what Death Watch really wanted was was not an ideal society. They wanted a society of peace, but what they thought as peace. That was not what Maul thought was a peace, and that was not what Satine thought was peace. And so she was never presented as a villain, but if she did, she kind of grows into her own, grows into kind of a great hero who does heroic things, who was able to stop Gar Saxon, who her and her owl gang, which is a sub gang in Death Watch, stop the Mandalorians working for Maul. And it was, through and through, it was just great to see. And I love that kind of, aspect of her. And I'm excited to see her pop up in Mandalorian Season 2. And like I said, Mandalorians in general are great. So seeing Mandalorians with just a great detail in the animation was all great. Great stuff. Coming in 46th place is Boba Fett. Boba Fett, we all know. Boba Fett's great. I mean, just his, silent, mysterious presence was just great. The original Mandalorian, and so I guess we could just talk, I give him all the credit for everything I love about a Mandalorian, because he's the OG, the original. His purple, not purple, why did I say purple? His green, colorings, his jetpack, the way he was able to track the Falcon, his iconic steps. Who makes steps iconic? Boba Fett does. And he doesn't really speak that much. It's just his presence and what he just acts like and what he does in these films. While I see some people say he's one of the best characters ever of Star Wars, and some people even say he's the best character of Star Wars, I never saw that. But I think some of the stuff he did in Clone Wars, as a bounty hunter teaming up with Asajj Ventress, or just going after Mace for revenge. I wasn't the biggest fan of making making Boba Fett part of the larger overall Star Wars story. But I kind of love, him, trapping Luke and fighting and his jetpack and his cool ship, and he's a really, really cool character, and kind of very much in the middle for me. Coming in 45th place is Count Dooku. Count Dooku is a really great character. I think his voice is just iconic, whether it's Christopher Lee or the other guy who played him in Clone Wars. I actually prefer the Clone Wars voice. Just, I don't know, there's something menacing about that voice. It's not like it's missing from any of those Star Wars films, or Lee's interpretation. It's just that it's more present there and more menacing there. And I love his kind of seductive plans, probably set up mainly by Sidious, but he's still the guy who carries out the plans, who's still very in tune with the Sith, who trains Savage Opress, and he does have somewhat of an arc throughout the series, throughout the films and series as well. And he has some great duels, and how he carries out his own plans. Him trapping Anakin. He has a lot of great duels with Anakin and Obi-Wan and all that stuff. Great. His posture, his kind of stance with the lightsaber, his lightsaber hilt is pretty cool. He's a really cool character where he's not like OP in any way, like overpowered or anything like that. He's just a great, solid character. Coming in 44th place is Jango Fett. I know not a lot to pretty much no one really puts Jango Fett above Boba Fett, but for me, Jango Fett is just, I feel like, the better character. I feel like his sequence with Obi-Wan was better, and I think his role, I was more in tune with his role as being someone, the clone of all the clones, the look of all the clones, being just a bounty hunter who, being Boba Fett, but yet having more to do with the story. So I really like the character, where again, it's not perfect, and as you can tell, they're very close as far as what I think about them as characters, but I still, in some way, on a small note, prefer Jango over Boba, and yes, Dooku's in the middle, but still, I think Jango Fett's really cool, because I think you see him utilize all his weapons, where it's, I guess, the look is cool for both Boba Fett and Jango Fett, but he utilizes the weapons really well. Like, Boba Fett never uses the fire blasters. And when he does use the jetpack, it ends up being his demise. And he uses... So I think Jango and just that one sequence against Obi-Wan, he really just utilizes everything that everybody loved about Boba Fett. The ship, the look, the tools, the arsenal, his fighting ability, and the ship, the Slave One. All of that was still present with Jango Fett. So I really prefer Jango Fett over Boba Fett. But, like you said, they're pretty close in how I think about them. Stay tuned for videos coming at you.